The movie begins with Otto Anderson purchasing rope from a hardware store. When he goes to pay, he complains to the clerk that he is being charged a few cents more for the length of his rope. Otto is renowned in his neighborhood for being grumpy and unpleasant, as well as a stickler for the rules, such as people leaving the gate on his street open and having their parking permits dangling from their rearview mirrors. Despite this, some neighbors, such as Jimmy, continue to reach out to Otto, despite the fact that he believes practically everyone to be an idiot. On his last day at work, he arrives to find that his co-workers have given him a retirement party, but he does not go. Otto returns home to turn off the power in his residence. Otto is about to hang himself in his kitchen when he notices the new neighbors across the street stupidly attempting to back their U-Haul onto their street. Otto rushes outdoors and meets the Mendez family, which includes Tommy, Marisol, and their daughters Luna and Abby. Otto, in his grouchy way, assists the family with their automobile, then comes home to complete his task. He is interrupted once more when Tommy and Marisol arrive and hand him a dish of food that Marisol prepared. Otto accepts it and eats it, loving it, before deciding to hang himself. As he prepares to die, he has flashbacks to his life, including recollections of his father, but the hook holding the noose snaps and Otto falls to the floor. He then comes upon an advertisement for a discount on flower bouquets. Otto takes the flowers he purchased to the cemetery to visit the grave of his wife, Sonia. He speaks as if she is present and discusses greedy real estate developers from a company called Dimerica. Otto dreams about himself as a young guy at night. He failed the Army physical exam because of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, an inherited cardiac condition that Otto's father had and died from. On his way back to Pittsburgh, he noticed Sonia dropping her book on her way to the train. Otto pursued her down and discovered her, returning her book and sitting with her. He had already fallen in love with her, but he knew he had taken the wrong train. Sonia offered him some change so he could pay for his train ticket. She let him retain the change and subsequently joined him for dinner. The next day, Otto encounters a Dimerica while driving down the street, as well as a neighbor he dislikes throwing pebbles at a cat near his house because the cat scratched her dog. Tommy and Marisol approach Otto again, this time with some cookies and asking if they can use his ladder. Another neighbor, Anita, requests Otto's assistance in recharging her radiators so they can provide heat again. Otto reluctantly agrees on the condition that she return a garden hose he loaned her over the summer. Otto also has a grudge against Anita's husband Ruben for what he perceives to be a coup against Otto, and Ruben suffers from a malady that has basically rendered him a vegetable with little movement. Anita claims that their son, Chris, has proposed that he be placed in a nursing home. Ruben grabs the yard hose and hangs onto it as Otto finishes his job and tries to leave, but Otto wrenches it from his hold. Otto sits in his garage automobile, attempting suicide once more through carbon monoxide poisoning. He recalls his dinner rendezvous with Sonia as he prepares to die. Otto didn't order meals for himself, she noted. He admitted that he thought he had no prospects because he couldn't join the army and couldn't find a job, so he was prepared for Sonia to be done with him, but as he walked out, Sonia grabbed his hand and kissed him in front of the other guests, who cheered for them. Otto then hears Marisol hammering on the garage door as Tommy falls from the ladder, and she says she needs a ride to the hospital because she doesn't have a license, which perplexes Otto. But he agrees. At the hospital, Otto reads a story to Luna and Abby in a funny voice, as they have started calling him Abuelo Otto. They are approached by a hospital clown named Beppo, who asks for a quarter for a trick, and Otto gives him Sonia's quarter and demands it back when he's finished. Otto discovers that the clown exchanged the quarters and begins attacking Beppo, causing Beppo to scream until the hospital personnel chastises Otto. Otto then drives the family home, and Marisol catches him smiling slightly. Marisol discovers the cat near dead in the snow the next morning. They warm up the cat with the help of Jimmy and Otto, and Jimmy takes the cat with him because Otto does not want him. Otto drives to the train station, recalling how he finished with a degree in engineering and then proposed to Sonia. Otto moves toward the train tracks, evidently intending to commit suicide there, until a nearby guy collapses and falls into the tracks. While everyone else is filming the man, Otto jumps onto the tracks to assist the man in getting back onto the platform. He then waits for the train on the rails until another man pulls Otto back up. The other customers regard Otto as a hero for saving the other man. Marisol later approaches Otto and hands him a sketch that Abby created for him, in which he is the only one represented in color. Jimmy then arrives with the cat and declares that he had an allergic response to him, leaving Otto alone with the animal. He places the cat in a box and takes him to Sonia's grave, where he tells her about the cat and the Mendez family. Otto subsequently encounters Malcolm, a teenager who delivers papers on his bike. Otto chastises him for it, but Malcolm explains that he knew Sonia as his teacher since she was the first to recognize his transgender status and call him by his new name, inspiring the other teachers to do the same. Otto becomes friendly with Malcolm as a result of their shared recollection. Otto then decides to give Marisol driving lessons on his manual automobile. She is anxious and stalls frequently on the road, prompting a pickup truck driver to honk at her. Otto addresses the man, telling him to stop honking since Marisol is learning. He calms her down and assists her in continuing to drive. They wind up at a pastry store which Otto used to frequent with Sonia, and he buys Marisol a Swedish eclair that he and Sonia used to eat. Otto tells Marisol about his and Sonia's earliest days in the neighborhood, where they were great friends with Ruben and Anita, although Otto and Ruben disagreed about their love of vehicles. Marisol later requests that Otto look after Luna and Abby while she and Tommy go on a date. Later, Otto assists Malcolm in repairing his bike chain before being approached by Sherry Kenzie, a social media journalist. She wants to speak with Otto about his rescue of the man who fell on the train tracks, but he refuses. Marisol returns and offers to help Otto clean out his belongings, including some old coats of Sonia's, but this irritates Otto, and he angrily declines her assistance. Making matters worse, the Dimerica agent returns, telling Otto that they have a file on him and that he is aware of Otto's heart condition. Otto's heart begins to bother him, and when Marisol tries to help, Otto simply returns to his house and does not respond when she knocks on his door again. Otto walks over to a firearm. He sees a Niagara Falls cap and recalls his worst memory with Sonia. She was around 6 months pregnant when they were riding the bus back from the falls, and the bus crashed. Sonia became paralyzed, and the couple lost their child. Otto suddenly hears a knock on the door and mistakenly pulls the trigger, nearly missing his face. He finds Malcolm at the door and asks if he can sleep on his couch because his father has kicked him out because he does not accept his trans status. Otto allows him to remain on the couch. Malcolm prepares breakfast and assists Otto with his neighborhood rounds in morning hours. Otto and Malcolm are discovered by Jimmy, who informs Otto that Di and Marika are attempting to evict Ruben and Anita from their home after learning of Anita's Parkinson's diagnosis, which she has not disclosed to anyone else. The corporation reportedly allegedly made plans with Chris to sell his parents' home, although Anita claims Chris hasn't spoken to them in years and has been living in Japan. Otto needs to make a call and asks Marisol to use her phone, but she refuses because he yelled at her and didn't answer the door for a long time when she knocked, which frightened her. Otto apologizes for his behavior and tells Marisol the truth. He attempted suicide after losing Sonia. And he was kicked out as the head of the Homeowners Association for attacking one of the board members for not allowing Sonia, who needed a ramp to go up and down her steps, to get help. Otto knows who to call because Marisol lets him use her phone. The Dimerica agent appears, accompanied by a handful of his henchmen, to try to evict Ruben and Anita from their home. Otto had contacted Sherry and her own crew in order to video Otto exposing the corporation for unlawfully collecting medical files on himself and Anita, as well as lying to them about being in contact with Chris regarding the sale of his parents' home. The agent tries to argue that no one could care for Ruben and Anita in their current situation. But Jimmy comes in and says he would because they are like family to him. The agents are subsequently compelled to quit due to further negative press. Otto collapses from a heart attack just as everyone is celebrating their victory. Marisol meets Otto at the hospital because she is designated as his next of kin. The cardiologist informs Marisol that Otto has an enlarged heart, which makes Marisol giggle at the irony of Otto having an enlarged heart. Marisol goes into labor moments later. Marco, her son, is born. During a celebration for Marco's birth, Otto offers Marisol a crib he built for what would have been his and Sonia's boy as a gift for Marco. Otto then takes the family to Sonia's tomb to meet them. Otto then pays a visit to Ruben after assisting him and Anita in maintaining their home, and Ruben manages to grin. Several years pass. Otto presents Malcolm with his automobile and a letter, which he places on his bedside. He also purchases a new Chevrolet and brings Marisol and the girls to a pastry store. Tommy informs Marisol one morning that he observed Otto didn't shovel the snow off his walk. When the two get to his house, they discover Otto dead on his bed, having succumbed to his heart problem. As Marisol sobs over his body, Tommy discovers the note he wrote to her. In it, Otto says he knew his time was coming and that he didn't damage himself. He made plans with his lawyer to leave his house and money, as well as the cat, to Marisol and her family, which would help put the kids through school and keep them afloat, but he tells Sonia not to let Tommy drive the Chevy, letting her know she is not an idiot. The family organizes Otto's funeral, which has a good turnout and includes people like Malcolm and Sherry. Jimmy and Malcolm resolve to finish Otto's rounds the way he used to. Otto signed the letter Abuelo Otto, and the final photo shows him buried with Sonia.